excited to bring in our next guest, MaryAnn Wilkinson. She's the Executive Director for the Scarab Club in Detroit. It is an amazing building, but also you guys do amazing things there in supporting the arts. For those not familiar with the club, give us a little bit of history.
Oh, hi, Ronnie. Thank you for having me on again. It's always a pleasure to be here. The Scarab Club is a 111-year-old arts organization. It was started in 1907. We moved into our current building in 1928. We're right across the street from the DIA. We're on the corner of Farnsworth and John R. Streets. And we are an organization that's meant for artists. We were started back in the old days by a group of advertising executive, actually, who were interested in finding a place where they could hang out together and learn to draw better and do some things together. And it eventually became a club. And it's known as the Scarab Club because it was originally named after its founder, but it was now known as the Scarab Club because you remember how in the early part of the 20th century, there was this great interest in everything Egyptian. You know, that's when King Tut's tomb was found and everybody was all excited about that. And so they named it the Scarab Club as a symbol of rebirth. You know, how many times we've talked about rebirth in our city. So we do exhibitions. We have artist members. We do classes and concerts. We do all sorts of things to attract artists and people who are interested in art in our community. So it's a very lively and vibrant place all the time. And we welcome everybody to come. It's not a club in the sense that it's exclusive, but we're open to the public and we invite anybody to come and see what we're doing.
And so you've evolved through the time as well. You have a special program going on right now in honor of Black History Month. Can you share that with us?
Yes, one of our goals, especially over the last decade, let's say, has been to really reach out and involve more members of the community than the club was known for previously. And so, you know, we've done a number of shows of Indian art and Black art and Middle Eastern art, and Hispanic art, all kinds of things from the community. But we had never done a show for Black History Month before. And we've never done a show that has exclusively Black artists. So the show that's up right now is called The Souls of Black Folks. And it was organized by a local artist named Donna Jackson. And Donna brought together the work of 19 Black artists from our community to think about what it means to be Black in 2021, what it means to be Black in Detroit. And it's a very moving, touching, interesting, thoughtful, and really beautiful exhibition.
Art really does tell a story, and it's also documenting history.
Mm-hmm.
What about this show taught you something new that maybe you didn't know?
Well, every time I look at work, and especially a group of work that comes together like this, that is from a culture that is not mine, I learned something. And there are so many powerful works in this show. One major work is by Carol Morrisseau that documents the many Black people that have been killed in unrest by police, by painting small portraits of them and inserting them in this big wall of ribbons. And it's such a beautiful and moving tribute. It's the sort of thing that I would never, I'm not an artist myself, but I would never consider doing. But it really brings the point home of how we need to look at this as individual people and learn from each other, think about each other as humans sharing the same spaces.
You know, it really is powerful when you think about, your club's been there for more than 100 years, but yet we're still addressing some of the same issues as a community and as a country as they were happening 100 plus years ago in our
Yeah.
nation.
Yeah, it never really goes away in that sense, I guess. I don't know, but I mean, when you think about the club and its long history, it was founded in 1907, as I said, and it wasn't until the 60s that women could be members. So, it took a long time for women to join. I don't know when African Americans could become members. That's something that I need to find out about, but I'm sure that it was probably after that. So in the last few years, we've really tried to bring a multicultural focus to the shows that we do at the Scarab Club, to recognize the fact that we have this highly diverse community of artists and of people who gain from looking at art, if you might say. But there are still a lot of barriers that we need to break down.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about art, is it also does spark conversation. And
Mhm.
you hope that's the case with some of these pieces as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think many of them they're unusual. Some are political, some are very personal, and they are intended to get people talking and to get people really looking hard at them and thinking about what kind of message it is that the artist is trying to convey. That is the power and the beauty of art, and why art is so important in our society.
How do you come up with some of the shows that you're going to be putting on?
Well, we set aside a certain number of exhibition slots every year for what we call invitationals. That is, an artist usually will come to us with an idea for a show. So, for example, this show was the idea of the artist Donna Jackson, who works with us in various other ways, but she had this idea for a show cooking in the back of her mind and proposed it to us. We do an open call for shows on our website. So if people have ideas for shows, they can come to us and do them. The other part of our exhibition program are juried shows. And our next show will be a show that is juried and you can submit if you're a member or if you're not a member. Um, so that show that'll be really wonderful. We do 3 or 4 juried shows every year.
What goes into picking some of the artists? Because we both know one thing about Detroit, we have so many extremely talented individuals and artists, and a lot of them are doing it as a hobby instead of as a career. Are they part of the consideration and the conversation when it comes to trying to find local artists to take part in some of your shows?
Well, as you said, Ronnie, Detroit is rich with artists. So we have artists everywhere, and we try to include as many artists as we can in the shows that we do, but it's very hard. And one of the things that I don't have to do anymore, because I'm the director of the Scarab Club, is jury some of the exhibitions that people submit work to. For example, the one that we have coming up, which will open the first week of March, there have been more than 550 images submitted for the jury, and the juror can only choose like 60. So
Oh my goodness.
it's really tough. It's really, really tough. And so, we try to accommodate as many artists as we can, but we're a fairly small physical institution. So, it's really hard, but every artist is taken into consideration, and we treat every artist with great seriousness.
So one thing during the pandemic is a lot of people are finding themselves with more free time due to the restrictions, or maybe just not feeling safe to go out. Has that helped flourish the artist scene at all here in the city?
I suppose so. We did a show early on in the shutdown, because we were closed from March until we were completely closed from March until July. And when we opened in July, we did a show called Lockdown, where we asked artists to submit the work that they were doing when they couldn't go anywhere. So I do think a lot of artists have ended up spending a lot more time in the studio than they ever thought or hoped that they would be able to. Um, but one thing that we have done during this closure, or during this time when we can't really gather, is to make a virtual class, if you will, out of drawing from a live model. The Scarab Club has always been known for having sessions where artists can come and draw from a live model who's posing in the gallery. But now we can't do that because we can't bring that many people in the building, so we do it online. And it's done over Zoom, and people like it very much. And it's open to anyone. All they have to do is sign up on our website. So we've really tried to encourage artists to stay active during this time too, because it is kind of depressing after a while to not be able to go out and see each other. But making art, and even virtually hanging out with people who are making art, really helps alleviate some of the claustrophobia that we might all be feeling.
For some artists, it's that spark, that organic spark of individuals that can help with their creativity in that process. But, you had mentioned you're not an artist. Are you intimidated at all being around some of these extremely talented people?
Oh, of course. Of course. We have such wonderful artists in this community, which is one of the exciting things about my job. So, I mean, they're artists are wonderful people, smart, sensitive, in tune with all kinds of things, and it comes out through the work that they make. So yeah, it's kind of intimidating, but it's so rewarding to get to know artists. And that's one of the things that you can do at the Scarab Club, because during regular times, not during now, but during regular times, it's a place where people can come and meet artists, where artists can come and meet artists. I mean, that's the fun of it, really.
So I have no artistic talent. I can't even do a stick figure. And I have a brother that is so artistic. He can do anything and everything. And it's amazing to watch. I always say that he stole our talent because he's right above my twin sister and I. And it goes back to that argument, can you teach someone some of these skills? But a lot of people are just born with it. And it's when you don't have those artistic talents, you sit back in awe of some of these individuals.
Oh, I feel your pain. I don't have any talent like that either. I'm a writer, and that's what I do mostly, is write about art and think about art and talk about art, but I don't make art myself. So I have nothing but admiration for the people who do.
But see, they need people like us because we're there to appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And to tell other people about it, because artists usually are not really very good at promoting themselves either. But to bring works together in exhibitions, to bring artists together in social situations, that's really important. And it's important not only for the people who make art, but for the people who appreciate art too, or who want to appreciate art.
So with that, tell us, when can people come and visit the show? Do they have to have a reservation, or how are you guys handling that side?
They do not need a reservation. We are open from Wednesday through Sunday from 12 noon to 5 p.m. And people can just walk in. We do have a limit of the number of people we can have in the building at one time, but people are reluctant to go out. And now that the cold weather has come, it's even harder. So chances are you'll be able to get into the building. It won't be a problem. And we have parking right next to the building, so it's very easy.
Well, I did catch some of the images. I know Fox 2 recently did a story with some of the artists, and such powerful artwork there right now. The show is called Souls of Black Folk, Bearing Our Truth. Go take a little bit of time, break out of the monotony of our days, and shake it up and go appreciate some of the local work from some of our local artists. MaryAnn, always great having you with us here on the show.
Thanks so much, Ronnie.
We wish you the best in 2021.
Thank you, and the same to you.